Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Sylvia and my channel is all about art and craft. Now, I actually jumped ahead without realising I didn't even turn the video on. Might have something to do with the fact that I was getting a little frustrated on some of the things. So it's like, yeah, okay. Well, we'll start it now. So what I've done is I've actually glued 4 of the pieces into the slots. And in order to get it to stand straight, I've sort of moved the other ones underneath it and put one of the long pieces in to stabilise it a bit, just so that it didn't, move around too much while the glue is drying. So I'm slowly getting there. It's been very challenging. One of the challenges have been the router. If I had a router table that I could use, would have made life a lot easier. I have to do it the harder way. So I've had my fair share of challenges, and yes, I've bogged up my mistakes every now and then. So I've still got to sand this back a bit, which is fine. But I've got the 2 sides prepared, and I also have the top piece prepared as well. So and this was the only one where I actually had no dramas whatsoever with the router. And I went, really? Couldn't you work like that in the first place? But those are the sort of challenges that you have when you haven't got a proper setup. Eventually I will, but it's going to take time, so I just make do with what I got and find ways around it. For instance, gluing this down, it's like, what's the easiest way to do it? And I just thought about it that way, because I can't really stand that panel up unless I would have done the other side as well at the same time, and even then it's still, a little bit on the risky side. So I sort of thought, no, I'll just do it this way, find something to prop it up so it stays straight, and I did it. And obviously I still got to put the bottom piece in, which I've got right here. So that will go in here, and then that will be glued into there. So, but yeah, slowly getting there, slowly getting there. And then of course this one here, which I won't be able to glue in straight away, because I also got to do slots along here as well, which I'll probably end up using the table saw to do. I'm not 100% sure yet. I'll work it out when I get there. But basically this one will then sit up the top like so, obviously further down because it'll sit right about here. And then, I'll have my other bits here. So yeah, it's coming along, and I'm quite chuffed at how much I've managed to achieve already, despite the challenges, and it's been very enjoyable, so to a point. So what I'm going to do is I'll start gluing down the others and sand this a little bit off just to make sure it's all nice and smooth, and then I can hopefully screw in I've got them all glued in, and in order to create more pressure on this side to keep them down, I just used a couple of clamps. So that's working well. So we're going to let it dry now, and then we'll be able to move on to the next stage. Okay, so the first part is finally done. Excuse me, I've still got a bit of dust in me. Now the one thing that I remembered was I've done it the hardest way possible. Unfortunately, I had to find out the hard way, and considering I haven't actually done this for like 37 years, I still managed to get around it. So this part's done, so all my ink pads can sit in there. There's going to be a backing as well, so this is by far not finished. And if I bring you closer, hopefully I can. Yep. As you can see, I've put some grooves in here as well. Now these grooves are 6mm because I'm going to use a 6mm MDF to put my uprights in here, because I figure, you know, the bigger tools, they're going to end up having a bit of weight, and I wanted to make sure that, you know, it's going to be secure. So I'd rather go a little bit overboard than using the 3mm one and it ends up being destroyed. So this is pretty much ready to be painted. Now again, I'm doing it the harder way, and I think it's mainly because I was getting so frustrated, you know, not being able to put in straight lines with the router and stuff, so that I ended up gluing the whole lot together and then sort of went, oh bugger, I was meant to paint it first. Because the idea was to get all the pieces ready, then primer it, paint it, and then put it together. So we're going to do that with the next piece. However, I can't really start painting this side just yet because, and I'll bring you over here. Now let me see. Yeah. Because I'm actually going to end up having like a PowerPoint over here. So I'm going to have to put, I'm going to put another board and attach it to this board. And I'm actually going to have like a groove. I'm going to cut out a groove where the cord can run up to the top, and the top piece can then end up with a hole in it big enough for the cord to come through, so, because I'm going to have a PowerPoint also sitting up the top here, so that's basically going to connect, and that way I've got a couple of PowerPoints down here, so that, you know, I can plug in my my heat gun, for instance. So yeah, and I want to do it so that you can't see the wire. And on top of that, I had also purchased a lamp. This one's nice and thin, and it's LED, and it's the daylight version, and that's going to sit somewhere around here. I'm not 100% sure where yet. I've still got to work that out, because my next step is to put my pockets in for my archival inks, and I'm thinking I might be able to put another shelf underneath it, so that you know, I might be able to have my glues and a few other bits and pieces sitting on that shelf. And then I'm sort of thinking about hooking the light underneath it. Now, the thing is, that also runs to a power board or PowerPoint. And instead of it going to the PowerPoint I'm putting down the bottom here, I want that to feed through that same hole up the top, so I can plug into my board up the top. Nicely tucked away, not noticeable. That's the aim. Can we achieve it? I reckon we can. So yeah, that will be the next stage. Because I've sort of realised, like, where I've got the desk, I don't have a lot of light over there. And so I thought, well, hang on a minute, I can just put one in. And that way, I've got plenty of light, and the camera will actually end up sitting up, coming from the top here, from the top shelf. So I need to have my power board up there as well, so I can plug it into the USB part of the power board, so that my battery doesn't run flat. I like to play things the smarter way. Keep it plugged in so the battery stays charged. Show you how I should have done it from word go with this one. Okay, now that I refreshed my memory and gone, you're a silly goose, you should have done it this way, would have been far easier. And yeah, so that, as I say, that'll be the next part. So I've already got my other 16mm wide MDF cut to size to go over, sort of over this side. The only thing I've got to do now is cut the 12mm one, and then I've got to do all my pockets again. And I'm going to, for that archival inks, I'll use a 3mm thick MDF, because they don't weigh a lot, so you know it's safe to use. Where you know my bigger tools, like my scoring board and cutters and stuff like that, well, if you end up having like a couple of them in the one slot, that starts creating weight. So hence why I decided to go with the 6mm. So the second part is done. Now what I'm going to have to do is take this bit off, secure these two together, and then work out, like, screw down the top so that I can work out where I need to put slots in. And the other thing I've got to do is I've got to make one more of this box, and that box will then go over the other side. And as soon as all that is done, I can pull it all apart again and give it a coat of paint. Now what I've actually done, now here in Australia I can't physically connect a PowerPoint. However, I've put it in place because I needed to know where I needed to carve out in order to have the cable running to the top, because I want it to come out on the top. And I'll show you how I've done it. And I'll probably take you off here just so that I can show you in the easier way. And yes, I've made a mistake, but that's fine. So as you can see here, I've put a groove in all the way to the top. Now this is where I made the mistake. I need it to go over that way, but I went over this way first. So that was my first mistake, which was fine. I fixed it. And then I'll come all the way down to where the power point will be. And then on the other side, as you can see, I've got my slot along here. Now this hole here is actually for the cable that belongs to the light that I'm going to put in. And then, you know, you've got your power board cable going all the way up. And there is my power point. Hang on, I'll just move this out of the way. All put in, not connected, but all put in, ready to be connected by a qualified electrician. Got to do the right thing here. Don't want to get in trouble. So, and the light will actually sort of sit just under here. So I've actually got it marked under there. Let's see if I can show it to you. Not sure if you can see it. Hang on. Let me zoom in. Like I've got, yeah. So as you can see, that's where the light's going to sit. I've already drilled a hole there. And okay. And I've still got to put the screws through it. And because the screws will actually need to be shortened, I'm going to get my husband to do that one. I don't feel confident enough to do that one because he'll probably just use an angle grinder or something. So, and yeah, I'll stay away from angle grinders. But yeah, so what I will do is once I've got the whole site done and probably painted, I will go on to the next video because that's when we end up doing this side where I've got stuff sitting at the moment. And yeah, I'm still muddling it out in my head, so we'll see how we go with that anyway. So anyway, I will see you guys in the next video. And if you're new to my channel and you want to see more videos of mine, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell notification. Now when you hit the bell notification, make sure you select all, because that's the only way you're actually going to get notified that I've put videos up. It's something that I've been discovering over time, so I keep forgetting to mention it. And also be sure to give us a thumbs up because it'll really help us. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.